Did you guys hear about this? So I heard about this when I was on break. There was a streamer that got murdered in Japan. I don't actually know what happened because I heard it was not like a simp situation. Like just a normal simp situation. Like I heard it was like she did some stuff, like she owed them money. I mean, obviously, like if you owe somebody money, that doesn't mean they get to kill you, obviously. I'm just being clear about that. I heard it was more complicated than people just saying that like, oh, he's just like some crazy simp dude.
Left an entire country in a state of absolute shock.
So here we go. This one is by Mujin again. We've seen Mujin before as well.
11th of March 2025, a 22-year-old influencer by the name of Ai Mogami was stabbed live on stream in broad daylight Japan. It's already quite rare to find a murder in this country, but what's even more rare is a violent crime of this nature where the victim gets stabbed over 30 times. So it's no wonder that people weren't just shocked, they were visibly confused. Everyone's asking themselves, how did this happen? What led this person to commit such a violent act? But the publications are asking themselves the same questions, with many Western ones like the New York Times not having any of the important details when reporting on it, making this out to be yet another parasocial case.
Yep, that's what everybody said. Like when this happened, a ton of people were saying like that it was like a parasocial, like, you know, parasocial simp. That's what everybody was saying when it happened.
With some even saying that it's another case of misogyny, but it's not that simple.
That too.
In fact, this incident goes back years. She knew the man and had a hand in making him gradually lose his mind up until this point. It doesn't get crazier than this, and we're going to talk about everything from the beginning. So Airi Sato was a 22-year-old live streamer who went by the name Ai Mogami online. The website she used to stream was whowatch.tv. Japanese people typically call it Fuwatch. She was very active on there and was one of its top performers. Before passing away, she had reached around 2,600 followers, which is apparently really big for this website. Her main area of expertise was just chatting streams, talking to her chat and interacting with them. Sometimes she'd do these creative challenges, going outdoors or talking to strangers, but in a nutshell, for her, it was all about her community. And speaking of community, this is where Kenichi Takono comes in, a 42-year-old man who had found her stream and really liked her personality. He had found her in December of 2021 and very quickly started to donate money to show his support. At his peak, he was donating over 100,000 yen a month. That is not a small amount of money today, being $674, but back then, when the yen was stronger, it was closer to $1,000 per month. This quickly caught Ai's attention because at the time, she wasn't a full-time streamer yet, she was still working at a restaurant. After having donated over 400,000 yen to her in the first few months of 2022, Ai decided to reach out to Takano directly and message him on the line.
If you don't know what Line is a Japanese messaging app. I guess the thing that is closest to it would be like Skype. WhatsApp, I don't know what WhatsApp is. Line is just it's a Japanese messaging app. I have it on my phone as well. I use it to talk to family in Japan. The best thing about Line is that it has cute as fuck emotes. Like the emotes are so good on Line. I spent so much money on emotes on there.
App. This is when they would first get in touch. For both of them, this was the beginning of the end. This is when their problematic relationship would start to take place. And now we have access to these conversations because they leaked.
Julio asks, wait, what do you use to message people on your phone if you don't use WhatsApp? Discord? What is WhatsApp and Telegram? Oh yeah, SMS too.
Relationship would start touch.
Do you act like I talk to anybody in real life? I don't go outside. If my friends want to hang out in real life, I tell them no. So I don't really do that.
This was the beginning of the end. This is when their problematic relationship would start to take place. And now we have access to these conversations because they leaked after the incident. On September 2022, she would start to ask him to lend her money directly, not through tipping on the stream, directly to her bank account. One of the first examples of this was her saying that she forgot her wallet at her job and that she's really strapped for cash, saying that she'll pay him back as soon as the next day or the day.
Thanks for the follow, Stringpore. Thank you. Did she actually intend to pay it back? I wonder.
Day after. She also specified, I want the money transferred to the cash card I have at home, preferably right now. This was at 7 p.m. on September 8th, 2022.
Man.
Within a minute, Takano responded, can I just transfer it now? Asking how much do you need? And her saying that she needs a few tens of thousands of yen. But this was only the beginning. And guess what? Even though she said that she was going to repay him the day after or the day after that, she didn't. She only kept asking for more. Not even 6 days after saying that she had lost her wallet and needed a few thousands to last her for the next day, she went ahead and asked for another 20,000 yen.
Oh,
but she
dear.
wouldn't take no for an answer. He said he couldn't do it with his card, and then she was like, well, what about a direct transfer from your bank account then? And Takano would always
my
find a way.
goodness.
She would do this almost every week for a while, right? Here asking for 50,000 yen. The amount would always keep going up, and the excuses would get crazier. Like, for example, this is a bad translation, but this is her pretty much saying that her sister's pregnant and she can't take care of the baby, so she needs money to help her. And still, Takano would send her money.
Sherman says, I want to say I found your channel recently on YouTube. I watch your videos. I got you on my notifications. I follow Chris as well. Thank you, Surfman. Thank you.
And around more care of the baby, so
Tells it because she deserves. I don't know, man. I don't know if this deserves. I don't think murder is the proper thing here. I don't think violence is the answer here. I don't know about deserved it. I don't think so. Was it good what she was doing? Obviously not. Like, this isn't good behavior. But I don't know if that means that you have the right to kill somebody. I don't think so.
She needs money to help her. And still, Takano would send her money. And around more than a month after starting to ask him for money, not only did she keep insisting...
It's kind of the expected outcome. Well, by doing what she did, you definitely open yourself up to this more. Yes.
Things started to get very disturbing. Takano would send Ai a message saying, I'm worried. And this was in relation to his financial situation.
It tracks, basically. Like the events, the chain of events makes plot sense. Do you see what I'm saying? Obviously, I'm not saying that she deserved this. I don't think that's true. But it's the plot connects.
Giving her so much money. So she responded by saying, hey, where did you get the money from? And here's what he had to say. This right here is a bad translation, but what he's saying is Eiffel and Raiku, two of the biggest and most well-known loan companies in Japan. This meant that Takano had been taking on loans to send her money whenever she would ask because she was asking so consistently and he didn't have a stable job. So what does she respond with? She says, I want you to borrow from another company different from Eiffel and Raiku because...
This is like a can't stop, won't stop situation. This is like a habitual line stepper that just can't stop.
Because I need 50,000 yen right now,
up, yeah.
arguing that she has loans to pay. So she saw that he was indebted to two different credit companies, and instead of saying, you know what, you should stop.
How is this not a sim situation? Sorry, Texas Tim, when I say it wasn't a sim situation, sorry. What I meant by that was it wasn't just like a random guy from online that just went over and killed her. Like there was like more behind it. So I think I did say that a little bit wrong, but it wasn't a simple case of like a person online that was like an anti or that was an anti or simp that just like went and killed her. Like they actually had correspondence right outside of the stream.
She asks him to get indebted to a third company too. And this is when he reveals something even more disturbing. He says, it's really tough. In fact, soon it will be revealed that I lied and borrowed it. So to get the loan, he had to fake his income and other details about his employment. And again, this was her chance to say, you know what? Let's lay off this. I'll find someone else or I'll find another solution. No, she triples down and says, I looked into it. And it turns out that if you have a job that qualifies you as a self-employed...
Oh my God. This is kind of evil. I'm not going to lie. This is kind of evil.
...person or you're receiving the money...
Again, does she deserve to be killed? No. But this is pretty fucking evil.
In a tax-friendly way, you can still borrow the money even if you can't prove it, so it wouldn't be a lie. And then he specified very clearly, I lied about my annual income and working hours. But the conversation still goes on and she keeps insisting. Even if you don't have your personal information registered as a regular employee, you can still pass the screening and it's often impossible to confirm, so there's no way they'll find out if it's true or not. I went through because I couldn't confirm it. So I want to point out the fact that she was an expert at this, as if she's done this multiple times before. Even a financial advisor wouldn't know all this. So it does beg the question, was he her only victim?
That's freaking sociopathic. To like actually act like this to somebody is awful.
At this point, we still don't know. He also states that he's been ignoring the credit companies and that he'll probably be getting a lump sum bill because he's been ignoring them. Also specifying that the billing address that he put was his parents' house. So his entire family was implicated at this point, but she just didn't care. He says, I'm getting scared of lying to borrow money now. And then she says, there's nothing I can do. I did it once. And then Takano says, so whatever happens. So at this point, yeah, you might be asking yourself many questions. Why is this guy doing this? Well, look, from all the text messages that leaked, he wasn't perverted. He never asked for any nudes or anything weird. It seemed that he just really liked watching her streams. She reached out to him for help and he just...
This is sick.
Couldn't say no. But even if he wanted to say no, she was very good at emotionally manipulating him, as evidenced by these messages. Look at this. He tells her in the beginning of November 2022 that he had applied to Raiku, right, the credit agency, to get more money to gift to her. She replies with, yeah, with this emoji. Takano then says,
Oh
I
my
hope I can
goodness.
borrow it, with a cute emoji. 15 minutes later, what does she reply with? She says, I want to die if I can't borrow money.
Oh man, dude. This is like, dude.
Takano says, don't say that.
What a fucking
I replies with,
sociopath.
I want to do it. So this is complete and utter emotional manipulation. This is disgusting. But obviously, it gets worse. He falls asleep briefly for around more than an hour. He says, I fell asleep. Then says, I stay alive. Then she says, Takano, I can't live without you. Then he replies with, I'm happy. Me too, I can't live without you. And then Ai Mogami finishes off the conversation by saying, thank you as always. I love you. Yeah. I don't think it's too crazy to assume that Takano might have thought that she was into him, that she, I don't know, appreciated him as more than a friend. Maybe that's what he was hoping for, but he never really expressed that in text messages. He was just always happy to help. But then, Takano's fantasy was cut short when the creditors came knocking. He had given her over 2.5 million yen, and back then that was over $20,000, with 1 million yen out of those 2.5 million being from creditors. So around the end of January 2023, he started asking for his money back, at least gradually, not all of it at once, saying, hey, listen, tomorrow, please start to pay me back. I replies with, sorry, can it be 2 days instead? He says, well, okay, fine, just please, on the 2nd of February. Then on the 2nd of February, he says, please deposit. What's going on? You said on the 2nd, so I moved it to the 2nd. The next day, he says, please give me the money back. And on the 5th of February, he says, you're not going to pay me back anymore? Ai Mogami then replies, this is a really bad translation. What she actually said was, no, I am going to give it back. And then Takano says, is that so? This is when she would pretty much ghost him. She would not reply to him anymore. 6 days later, Takano says, I'm barely making ends meet, so unless you transfer the money, I won't be able to pay anything in advance. Please transfer the money. A couple days later, I guess I won't get my money back. A few days later, are you willing to refund the money? Nothing. He was just talking to a brick.
Yes, it is. Ukulele says, is this about the Japanese streamer that got killed? Yes.
Wall. But of course, for him, it only got worse. Not only were the creditors after him, but he was witnessing her live stream and get a lot of money from live streams, while at the same time celebrating the fact that she had found a fiancé, that she was about to get married, and that they both were living in a high-rise apartment together, meaning that she was financially well off, and yet he hadn't seen a single cent returned from her. Takano was very frustrated, understandably, and losing a lot of hope. But interestingly enough, he sought to resolve this legally. He had lent her money, he was in big financial trouble, but in 2023,
Thank you for the follow, Rizabel. Thank you.
He sued her in order to get his money back. And in December of 2023, he actually won the lawsuit. The judge had ordered her to pay him back everything he's lent her, so 2.5 million yen, with an interest rate of 3% per year from December 8th, 2023 until the payment is made.
Okay.
So the court fully sided with Takano. He was completely in the right because at the time he had no stable income and was living in poverty. So obviously him winning that lawsuit was a relief. At least it seemed that way until he realized that it didn't really change much. Ai Mogami would start to reference this lawsuit on stream sometimes in a passive-aggressive manner, saying things like, I borrowed money and I'm going to court. Or the comments from a certain individual saying, give me my money back were so awful that I blocked him using the block function. She would even say,
oh my gosh, dude, she turned him to like Giga Villain.
that all she had to do was pay back all the money to get rid of this lawsuit in a nonchalant tone, as if it wasn't a big deal. The reality of these two could not be more different. In the court records of this lawsuit, Takano had said, I had feelings for her and wanted to help her if she was in trouble, and there she was nonchalantly saying, yeah, I guess I just have to pay it back. Additionally, since Takano watched her streams regularly, he understood that she was making a lot of money through tips and donations.
Yeah,
she had a platinum badge on FuWatch, which meant that she was one of the platform's top streamers. There are multiple ranks on this website, right? And typically when you get to the point where Ai Mogami was, you're making a monthly income of 300,000 to 400,000 yen in donations. And still
wait, how much?
Making a monthly income of 300,000 to 400,000 yen.
About $2,400 USD.
Yen in donations. And still, he was seeing 900,000 to 400,000 yen in donations. And still, he was seeing nothing. Even though the
Like
court
per
had ordered
day?
her to pay him back, he was not seeing a single cent. But obviously, the salt in the wound did not end here. She had a Twitter account that is private, so we don't know much about it. But some people found another Twitter account of hers that was fully about poker, with the first post she had posted on this account being her holding a bag full of chips worth 542,000 yen. So that could explain where a lot of Takano's money might have gone. So at this point, Takano felt completely cornered. He had tried to help someone who he really liked, getting indebted to 2 different companies and living in poverty. And even though he had gone through the legal means of getting his money back, nothing had changed, and he was seeing the same woman who scammed him and played with his feelings continue to stream and thrive, making a lot of money monthly. Eventually, during the year of 2024, something had cracked in him, and in 2025, he made up his mind. He sent her one final message on March 7th, 2025, blaming himself for falling in love and being deceived, and asking her one last time, please give me my money back. I'm in the negative because of the consumer loans I borrowed to lend to you, and I can't live. Asking, can you somehow pay me back at least 10,000 yen, which is not even like $100? Adding that he'd been taking a lot of pills recently and had been sleeping all day because of how depressed he was. But of course, he was ignored. 4 days later, Ai Mogami had gone live, streaming around the Shinjuku area. Takano saw this, recognized the area, and decided to go pay her a visit. He took Oyama Station, which was the closest to him, and rode close to 2 hours down to Shinjuku. She was initially streaming around the Takanadobaba station, but then made her way down to the Shin Okubo station. So he took the metro, and he followed her. This is a map that kind of tells you how it happened. He started here, he went down here. She kept walking this way, and so then he followed her that way too. And that's where the incident took place. Eventually, he was able to
This happened live too, right on stream?
make out where she was streaming from. So he made his way to her tripod setup, and that's where he struck. Multiple times, repeatedly, violently, with a blank look in his eyes. The knife he had used was 13 centimeters in length. He showed up with a backpack, and there were
That's not very big. That's like a typical pocket knife. Typical pocket knife size.
2 other knives
That's not
in
that
there
big.
as well.
No, it's not.
He had stabbed her over 30 times in the neck, in the chest, in the shoulder, and initially she was screaming help, but then
I mean, I guess I could just tell you how big it is. Yeah, it's about 5 inches. It's not that big for a knife.
went silent. And I mean, think about that for a second. 30 times just doing the same motion over and over again. That's not normal, right? None of this is normal. This is very violent, and the fact that he had a very blank stare made it worse. In fact, he kept talking to her as she was laying on the ground. At that point, the screen was completely black. You could hear sirens in the background, and you could also hear him asking her, while she lay on the ground, "Are you dead yet?" while kicking her. To say that there was fear and confusion is an understatement. The entire place was swarmed with police and paramedics. And to add to the confusion, people didn't even know who was actually stabbed. This tweet right here with almost 500,000 views said that she was a voice actress and a live streamer, stabbed by an anti-fan while streaming on the Japanese site Hua.
Wait, so hold on. No, this is wrong. She's not a voice actress. Is this wrong?
Ai Mogami was not a voice actress. She was a live streamer.
Yeah.
And that's because they were confusing her with a voice actress by the...
Just
I
to
see,
be
I
clear,
see.
the studio came
I
out
see.
and said the VA and the streamer
Yeah,
are
yeah,
not
yeah.
the same person.
I was looking at it. Like, I went to go... I'm not gonna lie. I went to go look if, like, she did an anime or something.
same name. This Ai Mogami was being flooded with emails, DMs, calls, messages, thinking that it was her that was stabbed. Her agency had to put out a statement saying, "Listen guys, first off, condolences to whoever just got killed, but please stop flooding my messages, it's not me." And as you can see, this was pretty damn significant, seeing that this post has over 30 million views. Now, when it comes to Japanese people, the reactions varied greatly. Very shortly after the stabbing incident, people made up a makeshift memorial. But you might have noticed the fact that many of these news outlets, their videos that they posted on YouTube are heavily disliked. And that's because for some Japanese, they're siding way too much with the victim rather than the plight of the person who committed the crime. You can see this in the comments, with this one having over 2,400 likes saying, "There's no way you can borrow 2.5 million yen and just say, I don't know, block? I can't approve of murder, but I can understand the feeling of murderous."
This is basically, like, spot on right here. Like, yeah, like, obviously murder is bad. Obviously it was bad that, like, this happened. You can understand, like, the actual, like, you could understand the plot.
Intent. This post on Twitter echoes a different statement, saying, "Whatever they do to you, don't stab them to death," reminding people that Takano had kicked her when she was down after the stabbing, so don't blame the victim, he's in the wrong here. There was a lot of discussion in the comments section of the article on Yahoo Japan detailing the incident. The most upvoted ones echoed
it's not justifiable, but it's understandable. Yeah.
Fact that yes, they do feel sorry that she had to be murdered, but at the same time, they felt sorry for the perpetrator. So as you can see, this is a very complex situation. It's not black and white at all. And in the end, I think it doesn't have to be. I think multiple things can be true at once.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true that murder is too far.
A lot of people nowadays, 2025, have trouble with this concept that you can have two things. And again, this is how I feel about a lot of things, and this gets me into a lot of trouble.
He is definitely wrong for that. But at the same time, it's not like she was innocent either.
Yep.
She manipulated him hard, and she was really good at it, making many people wonder if she had done it before and if there are other victims. It's just unfortunate that we couldn't conclude this without any bloodshed. Guys, be safe out there. And if someone asks you for money, know your limits, because if it's too good to be true, then it probably is. Okay? Stay safe out there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video whenever that is. I love you. Mwah.
Man, that's crazy. Yeah, that's wild, man. Just overall, like an unfortunate situation all around. I think he was diagnosed schizo as well. But yeah, that's the whole story. I saw a lot of stuff going on out there where people got the story wrong. The whole thing's tragic, really. It makes sense. Both things are bad. You're gonna have a lot of people that are either gonna fully side with the dude or fully side with the girl. And I think again, both things that happened were wrong. Anyway. Hi guys, my name's Leaflit. I could totally use $10,000.